just completed our first full big scrimmage of preseason camp, and about where we thought we were as a team. A lot of work to continue to be done. We really started off a little under 2 weeks ago when we started camp with really, always given the objectives that we want to accomplish during camp, and they're pretty similar every year. Develop our toughness, the mental toughness and physical toughness of the football team. Really build our foundation of discipline. Improve our fundamentals, and let that be a separating thing from us and other teams. To be a fundamentally sound and have the right techniques for playing the position and teach those to the team. Being committed to the team, which really is so much there. It involves the accountability of players and coaches. It involves being responsible for your own actions, owning up, doing your job, and being accountable when you mess up. And big thing for us is developing trust between coaches and coaches, players and players, coaches and players, players and coaches. We coach our guys hard, we do, and our practices are hard, and that's prepare them to go out and play games. And when you coach guys that way, and when players play that way, all right, you got to have a really a big amount of trust in each other. All right, from a player standpoint, they got to trust that we're putting them in the right positions. Right, that we're not just asking them to go do things just to do it. And then from a coach's standpoint, we've got to be able to trust that those guys are going to be all in, give what they have, give max effort all the time, and surrender their egos to us to allow them to put them in those positions and develop them. And that's been something I think has been a really, really good thing. And the transparency and the honesty between coaches and players. Because look, at the end of the day, right, those guys depend on us as coaches, and we depend on them as players. My family depends on those players. Coaches' families depend on players, and they depend on us. So it's a two-way street there, and that's really all part of the bigger picture of this football team, which it's always been, is we want to have ownership, to let the players have ownership in this team and be a player-led team. So, and then a big one this year was really to continue to increase our capacity for more. And to be able to go into our games and be the best conditioned team, to be able to play 4 quarters, and then whatever comes after that. So I think we're making good progress on those things. We've still got a ways to go. It's going to be a really big week for us in developing the team. A lot of, I'd say majority of the installation is in. So moving forward, it's really situational ball and really honing in on our techniques and what it takes to move that needle from good to great at each position. So as far as the scrimmage goes today, I think it was pretty balanced across the board. Offense and defense, it was good spots, bad spots on both sides. All 3 teams that went, I think we went right at 140 plays in the scrimmage. It was about 15, Mike was saying about 15 possessions each group had. And about halfway through it, I came off script a little bit, and I just felt like this team just needs to play ball. Not as much of the situational things like we do in the second half a lot of times. Those were all coming up within the scrimmage and the flow of the game. So coaches got to be prepared. This is our time to work too. This is coaches practice just like players do for game days. We needed more of that, and we did. A couple of bright spots out there that I saw. Just naming some players. Will Kiker had an interception return for a touchdown. Just continuing his ascension on this football team, which really I think everybody saw in the summer, his strength numbers and weightlifting and speed and explosion and all that. And he's really showing that up. That's showing up when he gets his opportunities on the field too. We had Shamik had a blocked extra point. I'm not sure what groups were in, who was in. Mari picked it up and ran it back for 98 yards for a 2-point conversion. Then as far as the defensive linemen, I thought some of the young guys really, really showed up today. And we wanted those guys to get a lot of plays in to see where they're at. Christian Garrett showed up with multiple sacks out there. Christian's been playing end and 3 technique, playing both of those positions. I think he can be a force, and he's got, for the size and strength that he has and the athletic ability and the quick twitch. I mean, you talk about a matchup nightmare when you move him inside. But he's it's like all of them. He's got a ways to go, but he's starting to flash and show the real signs of what we thought he was. at the ends by Jordan Boyd, who missed some of springtime and was a freshman last year, played a little bit, played a lot on teams, but he's really starting to show up out there. Being able to play with power and quickness and juice off the edge. And then two guys inside, I thought Blake Beelan and Derry Norris showed up a lot inside. So, really increasing that depth, and not just the depth, not just to have a body there, but have depth that can play when they're ready, right? And that's what we want. We want all freshmen to come in with the mindset and attitude that they're coming in to play as a freshman. And because if you don't have that mindset, you're never going to play, right? So you always got to be thinking that way. That is a big man walking out the door right there. That is a big man. Speaking of newcomers, he played really well. He is he's a big man that moves really good. So there's a couple scoring runs that ran right behind him. And notice I hadn't said his name yet, y'all. See if you're doing your homework. Then in pass protection, I thought he was really, really solid at pass protection there on the right side, right tackle. Talking about Malachi. Some of the other guys, I thought Elgin Sessions showed up today as far as another young guy, Dalen Pinson. I thought Tay Harris around the ball a lot today. One thing we asked our team was to make sure they take care of each other. Right? Make sure you go out and you got to play physical, got to play fast. Right? But we want to take care of each other too. At the end of the day, we're all teammates. And there's the QBs. Haynes is leaving his house right now. Yeah, you guys will ask about that. But who was I talking about, Kelly?
Young guys taking care of each other.
Just seeing if you had your notes taken. No, but they did. There was some times that it was piled up and there was 3-4 guys on the tackle and they could have dumped a guy or flip it and they didn't. So that shows a sign of maturity on the team. That's a positive sign. AJ Hoffler, missed some springtime. He showed up today. So I was really pleased with the defensive line, the end spot, and that's not really, and that's not saying anything negative on the other side of the ball. Like I said, I think it was a pretty balanced scrimmage across the board. It shows enough things. I mean, for every time they might have gotten a pressure or sack, there's also guys that you got to understand the discipline of staying in their lanes, and whether it's a rush lane, whether it's the technique in the run game, because then the quarterback takes off and goes 15 yards up the middle on a scramble or a draw, right? No matter how many sacks you get, if the guy's getting first downs every other third down, third and long. So, again, that's part of the evolution, the development of the young guys at that position. But I don't think there's anybody better than Jess Simpson and Kyle Pope as far as the developing of those guys. I mean, they both do such an outstanding job. Some of these guys just in the last week, seeing how they've, the true freshmen, how they've come around on the D-line position. Then over on the other side, I think we're starting to come together on the O-line. And that's always a position that takes time to. People say use the word gel or whatnot. I mean, not really gelling. It's just going out there and playing. I mean, there's a lot of these guys don't have a lot of reps under their belt, and that's why we really want to maximize our practices, maximize our scrimmages to, as y'all have heard me say a ton of times, shrink that gap between practice and games, so it's not too big for them. But up until now, we've been playing guys at different positions, creating some versatility on the front. So once we do settle into those 7-8 guys that are truly going to be in the play in depth, right, we've got multiple guys that can play multiple positions. And Harrison Moore's guy, I think this past week has come on. He's playing a couple different spots. I mentioned Malachi. Tana's been playing center, and Jimmy Bryson. Jimmy got in there at center. He had a lot of time with the twos in there at center today. Some of the combinations we were working out on the field, and they thought with the exception, I think, one time. I mean, executed the snap, got the calls in, got the line in the right direction. So, and that's not easy for a freshman center. I mean, especially the guy that wasn't here in the springtime, the guy that just got here to go with the twos. I mean, you're going against Akilo and JJ and Matt. I mean, there's some pretty good players that are across from you too. So I was proud of him today. But then, like I said, ball security, we threw the one interception. That was really it was a great play by Kiker. Early on, we had a couple balls on the ground. We had an exchange, a couple exchange deals. One QB center exchange with I'm not sure who was in there on that one, and then Jordan Allen, who's really been flashing this camp. Well, he can roll now. He is real fast. And all of a sudden you get out there in scrimmage time, well, now that real fast went to real fast, and now you're trying to, whether get him the ball or you're trying to turn before he catches it or whatnot, balls end up on the ground. So there's a lot of things we've got to coach up. And the way, speak of the devil, then all those guys did a heck of a job. Freshmen sticking together, right? Jordan. Same thing with punt returning. He's one of the guys we're working punt returning, and just only so many times you can, so many reps you can get. So we're trying to maximize those. Probably the biggest, I think, whether it's myself, Buster, or Norv have said it. We got a pretty good running back room, guys. We got a deep running back room. It was good to see the young guys in there today do some things. JP, Shane Marshall, Malachi Holmes. I mean, all of them had big chunk runs, which is good on one side, but also on the other side of the ball, it's we're the guys that bust one gap. One guy makes a mistake out there. It shouldn't be 10, 12 yard gain. That should be the max that it is, right? So we got a lot of work to do on both sides of the ball when it comes to that. Tackling in space, setting the edge, contain of the defensive the structure and the call that's being made. Overall pad level, we got to continue to get better at. We got to work on our hands. Too many times, out on the perimeter or on the back end, we had hands outside and causing holding penalties or pass interference type things. So we got a lot of work to do this week, and wish we had about time will start running out pretty soon. So got a lot of work we got to get done. So it's family. It was family day today here, so all the players. A lot of their families were able to come in and have some educational classes for them, early on, and then have a big barbecue hereafter for them. So, with that, let's hear y'all talk.
I know one of the things that's changed in the last 10, 15 years has been the amount of full padded practices and the ability to tackle to the ground and all that. How do you feel like the tackling's progressing, and how difficult is that when you have limitations and how often you can go live in full pads?
I mean, I think it's plenty. I mean, look, nothing changes in full pads versus shoulder pads. I mean, there is zero difference other than taking somebody to the ground. And, you get our scrimmage opportunities, but it's harder to thud than it is to tackle somebody. And that's what we want to get done. We want to make sure that these guys understand how to thud and bend their knees and wrap up. Right? That's hard. That's the hard thing to do. You're not diving at people's ankles. Now you're in a better position when you're in games. So, look, that's why you scrimmage, though. That's why you do scrimmage. That's why you do go live, is to see where you're at and get a kind of a baseline of that. I thought leaving the springtime, we'd made a lot of improvement in tackling. We've worked a lot of segmented tackling things up until now. Those are things you can work tackling without taking people to the ground, and that's something they work every day, even when they're in spider pads. You're working those techniques in the body position. I think we got some guys that and obviously the faster you are, the quicker you're to the ball, more likely you make the tackle, right? So when you have more length, more speed, more depth, right, those things help. But I thought, like I said, I think we got to work on the perimeter. Some of those things. Our tackling out on the perimeter. I don't want guys to be ankle biters. I want guys to be able to come and face guys up and front them up and make a tackle like a man. And that's something we still got to continue to work on. But right now, I don't know. It's kind of a loaded question there. I mean, am I pleased? Not really. I mean, am I happy? Not really. I mean, do I think we have a chance to smile at some point? Yeah. But no, I mean, it's halfway through camp. So I think the ability of the guys, though, it really shows up. The speed to the ball, especially the second, third level. We got a really deep, good group of linebackers.
Last couple of years, you've increased the number of early enrollees. How has that helped the overall development of the team and the building of depth on both sides of the ball?
Yeah, I mean, depth is really what it, I count depth what it is in the first game you kick off, right? So whether they're early enrollee or summer enrollee, the depth is still there, right? But being an early enrollee, that's a lot of practice reps, right? And it's not just the 15 days of spring. I mean, it's the time we have with them in the off season. It's getting in shape. It's being in condition to be out and go through a practice, to go through summer conditioning. So yeah, I mean, but yeah, it helps you. But at the same time, we've had a lot of players here in the last 2-3 years that have come in the summer and made big impacts as true freshmen as well. So I'll leave it up to them. Like I don't press them one way or the other as far as being an early enrollee. If they are an early enrollee, yeah, I still let them go to prom and do all those things. Yeah. But like Dalen's a good example. Dalen Pinson. I mean, he was on a quest to break some records and to win another championship, and he did. So spring sport guys, and then some schools there's still some schools that don't allow it. So.
Good. Yeah. How's Aaron Philo's camp been so far?
Good. I've been really pleased with Aaron. We know the talent he has, tremendous talent, and that definitely ain't going anywhere. But it's almost one of those things too. The older you get, when you come out of that true freshman year, and it's every position. It's not just quarterback. You know a little bit more. Then you know a lot more. And almost sometimes knowledge can be deadly. All right, so no, but for a quarterback especially, Chad, there's so many different things for that person to see that really take game-like experiences and reps and speed, and whether you're Haynes, who's started for 8-9 years in college football, or Aaron, who's going into his second year. All right, both of them are tremendous football players, and they're always But Haynes is still seeing things. You see new things. You got a new coordinator, different coverages, different tweaks to it, different things. But I've been really very pleased with Aaron.
Obviously, kind of the midpoint of camp. How are you in terms of injuries and bumps and bruises? I know they creep up a little bit as the camp wears on.
They don't creep up. They happen. Like a play happens and they're there. They don't sneak up on you and boo. We're healthy. We're healthy. We're as healthy as we've been at this point in camp in 3 years, and that is a massive credit to really a lot of areas. I mean, AJ Artis and his crew and what they do during the summer. Brad Kimball in the training room and how they've been able to put guys in position in the maintenance and rehab and what we do there, and then Pat Boyle and Jordan Diaz from really the sports science aspect of it. I mean, we went hard last week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and hey, I want to go hard again on Thursday. Well, maybe you got to dial back a little bit, and but we use all those things. Use your gut, your gut instincts, your experiences, but also the scientific data. We're not going to be driven by just one thing. We're going to put our heads together, and that's where the trust comes in with the staff. And I trust those guys tremendously. I mean, we were able to go, just under right at 140 plays today, and I mean, and obviously it was cool out there, relatively speaking, but we could have gone 40, 50 more without missing a beat. These guys are in really good shape.
I guess maybe.
Now I need the sun. I need the heat.
Looking forward, maybe what's the next step you want to see out of this team before you start preparing for Colorado?
Yeah, the details. Like I said, the installations come, really slowing down. Right, it's time to now. I mean, we challenge them all the time. It's not just knowing what to do, but how to do it and why you're doing it. Right? Until you know those three things, you don't truly know everything there is to know about the game or about the play that's called. We've still got a lot of young guys that we've got to continue to get reps and different combinations working with people. But I want to settle in a little more this week to guys that could be competing to play next to each other. There's still a lot of positions that are that there's really good competition in. But I want to see a group that doesn't lose its edge, doesn't lose the steam they've brought. This is a very business-like, focused group. It's it takes a minute to kind of get to know your team and know who they're going to be that year. And you always think one thing coming out of spring, then you add a few more guys, and some more adversity hits and different things take place. Throughout the summer and the team bonding stuff that we do, and I think I got a pretty good feel for what this team is, and if given the option to have the day off or practice harder, they're going to practice. They're going to want to practice harder. That's just kind of the mindset of these guys, and I love it. But I also got to make sure I'm doing my job of protecting them against that, because it's easy to be emotional and just say that, but we're the adults in the room that have to make sure that we put them in the right position. But they go hard, and now it's time to really refine the details of the game. Like if you look at we still got a ways to go with our mental toughness. I defined that to them. I said, look, mental toughness is your ability to maintain focus when things get hard, when you get tired, right? When adversity hits, when they're wondering right now if I'm talking about them. That's all the freshmen. Yeah, there's some young D linemen. I guarantee you they are. Let me hear him. Look at Blake. He's like a little kid. And Christian, look at them. They are hoping I'm talking about them right now.
You were earlier.
I was. They're too late. But that is something that's something that's really important is diving in and becoming very detailed, maintaining our focus, the mental toughness of everything we got to be able to do.
Your receiver room is much improved, and guys like Isaiah and getting to see Eric Rivers now healthy. What has that been like in your evaluation of kind of where you're at in the receiver room?
Yeah, we got depth. We've got a group of guys that complement each other very well. All right, we got guys. It's one thing to have a guy that's a good receiver, but when you get locked in playing one position for whatever reason it is, these guys can play multiple positions. Eric can play all across the board. You can move him around, put him in stacks, put him in different ways to clean, help his releases. I mean, he's a smart football player. He's got a lot of experience under his belt. Showed up today, big time. Showed up today. Isaiah, big target, strong, fast. And I think as they're becoming more and more confident playing together and with the quarterbacks, you're seeing the play speeds pick up. And that's what I was looking for, to see the play speed pick up. Yeah, Buster, we know you're here.
Anything else for Coach Key?
Yeah, come on, Bo. Come on, guys. We're on a roll right now. Don't talk so much.
What has the progression been with getting the players acclimated to what Coach Gideon wants to do, and maybe making those adjustments and seeing that into a scrimmage in the fall, maybe from where you were in the spring?
I don't make much of that. I mean, we've got a lot of very willing kids. Doesn't matter who. I mean, if you're up there coaching them and giving them the information, Kelly, they go out and they have success and it's effective, they're going to listen to you. Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Appearance within presentation does still matter. So, Blake has presence about him. All right, and presence is always the first thing that you look for when a guy stands in front of your team. What type of presence do they have? Because that locks guys in. But also the relatability. Right, those guys can relate to him very well. He's been in their shoes. He's a player's coach, but he's very demanding. He's very detail oriented. So it's been a very smooth transition.
Anything else?
Yeah, I mean, if you want them, I'll keep them coming. What's jump for?
So really looking at where this team is and who we are as a football team. We've spent 2 years really climbing our way to the point we're at now. All right, and now it's time to take the jump.
You were here playing when a jump was made with the program and a steady rise up with Coach O'Leary. Are you seeing similarities? And I mean, obviously teams are very different, but just in terms of trajectory.
I don't compare this team to anybody. I don't compare our journey to any other one that's taken place. This is ours. It's these players. It's us as coaches. And each year's independent. I mean, it's so different now where you're bringing. I read something this morning. Talking about teams are bringing. They have 60, 70 new guys on their team right now. I think we're in the mid 30s. It's a different deal. So. Look, to be compared to something, that's flattering, right? But at the end of the day, it's all about us and what we do.
That's it. All right.
Appreciate it. Go Jackets.